Hello and welcome to this session in which we are going to talk of how to analyze mocks. I'm sure by now we would be well on our way to be taking a lot of mocks, and I'm sure you've heard a lot of people talk of analyzing mocks is important, analyzing mocks is important, and what exactly are the steps in analyzing mocks? Of course, in my opinion, remember there is no precise science to this. There is no gravity, and there is no क्या होता है chemical reactions involved that only one process would work. You are at complete liberty to disagree with me. You are at complete liberty to have divergent views. It is just that perhaps don't have divergent views for the sake of having divergent views. Have divergent views if you believe that something is working well for you. And there are going to be instances where what I do versus what you do will be different. And it is perfectly all right if we have different, we operate in a different manner, but it should be a manner that helps you. It is not different for the sake of being different. Okay, let's start. First, a small introduction. I have a teaching experience of more than 13 years, and which is where most of my views stem from all the experience of tackling people, tackling students, and my own methods that have evolved over the past 13 plus years. I'm currently a mentor at NSS Academy, and I'm a commerce graduate. Okay. The agenda. First thing is we'll talk of what is the purpose of analysis, then the three individual sections, and then we'll be going through a mock analysis template of sorts, an Excel sheet of sorts that will help you maintain a record of what you're doing. Okay. The purpose of analysis, by identifying strengths and weakness, understand the exam pattern, improve time management, refine test taking strategy. All of these are well and good. These are absolutely fine. My biggest challenge is most people have somehow dumbed down analysis to let's say data analysis. Data analysis of what percentile did I get, what was my accuracy rate, what was my questions from a specific topic that I have managed to solve. Or what is my VA hit rate, or what sort of sets I am able to solve. This is very, very flawed. In my humble opinion, this is very, very flawed, because understand the objective of analysis is improvement. It is not to be an impartial third party observer to see how data is flowing. As a cricket analyst, somebody who is outside of the team, somebody who is simply a statistician, will be looking at all these points. But somebody who is working with a team, let's say I'm the stats analyst for Team India, then my target is going to be, I have all these data points. What is the subsequent course of action that I should be focusing on in order to get better? So for a batsman, if I'm looking at the zones where the balls land and then they end up playing a loose shot, or if they're playing too much outside of the body, or if they are getting in line with the stumps too often, they are falling over themselves, their head is not right. While fielding, they are not taking steps in the front. While bowling, they are pitching too short or they're pitching too wide. Those sorts of points are what the improvement seeker are going to look at. And when you are doing your analysis, you're not expected to engage in data analysis, what my percentile is, what my accuracy is. You're supposed to be looking at how can I improve, how can I identify what works for me, what doesn't work for me, and if there are knowledge gaps in my ambit that I need to take care of. This has to be the priority, not data analysis. So even if you never ever record what percentile you got in a test, that is fine. But for every question that you have gone through a test, that you have gone through in a test, will I be able to solve this question if it comes up in front of me in future? Will I be able to understand or possibly solve a similar question? Will I be able to understand what was being tested in this question? If all those things are sorted, then my analysis is useful. With that in mind, let's get to individual section analysis. For verbal ability, VARC, the entire section. See, VARC, the biggest challenge is in case you misread something or misinterpret something, if you were doing it alone, if you were analyzing it alone, most likely you are going to misread it again and you are going to misinterpret it again and you're going to misunderstand it again. There is no way in which it will get clearer by yourself, which is why get a group of 4 or 5 serious aspirants. And when I say serious, I don't necessarily mean people who are always scoring very well. These are simply people who are dedicated to the cause of improving. This group can and should evolve over time. What I mean by this is, see, right now, if you try to create a group of 4 or 5 people, everyone, if you send out an invite, everyone will say, yeah, I want to be a part of this group. I want to be a part of this group. But groups usually come with freeloaders, people who rarely ever contribute, yet want all the benefits of being a part of the group. And those people should get kicked out. How the analysis happens or how the process happens is, let's say there are 5 people here. You sit in a Zoom meeting, you sit in a physical meeting space, wherever you are. Let's say this is person 1, this is person 2, this is person 3, this is person 4, this is person 5. Person 1 reads out the first paragraph and then provides a summary in his or her own words, whatever they've understood of the passage. Whatever understanding, whatever summary they have provided, the other 4 people are to critically analyze it and either add to or correct the summary provided by P1. Then the second paragraph comes, the second paragraph is read by the second person. Whatever reading that they've done, whatever understanding they've had, they'll share it here. If they have a parallel idea, if they have an analogous relationship that they have established, or if they have any prediction about what the subsequent part of the passage is going to be, or what points to where the author's opinions lie, everything that you have gets mentioned in the summary. This is verbal, this is spoken out. If it is all sensible to other people, great. If it is not sensible, they ask questions, they will correct it, they will add to it, they will edit it suitably. Then you do it for the third paragraph, then you do it for the fourth paragraph, then you do it for the fifth paragraph, and however many paragraphs are there, you just ensure that, let's say the first passage had 7 paragraphs. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Now the second passage, first paragraph will come to P3, then it will come to P4, then it will come to P5. One paragraph, everybody keeps on reading. Now, if the paragraph is only 2 lines, perhaps you can club it together, 2 paragraphs, 3 paragraphs, that can also work. And this process keeps on happening. What this does is, see, if I misread something, if I misinterpret something in a paragraph, even if I reread it, I'm again going to make the same error. I'm going to interpret it incorrectly all over again. So what would be better if I include different point of views, if I bring in other people who may not necessarily think like me, and then I can understand, oh, so when the author is saying, of course, blah, 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 he's not agreeing with the idea, he's being sarcastic that I could not catch on from the way it was written, but this person is telling me this is being sarcastic. Or if the other person is telling me that this is being sarcastic, but I'm fairly certain that this is not sarcasm, this is agreement, because he's also later going on to give me points in support of the idea, then the other person's understanding improves. But then this has to be a collaborative exercise. You're not looking to score points over your other fellow aspirants. You're simply looking to gain a better perspective of the understanding of the passage by getting more and more people involved. Okay, then when we get to the questions, let's say P1 says correct answer is option A. P2 says correct answer is option A. P3 says correct answer is option B. P4 says correct answer is option B. And P5 says correct answer is option C. As of now, we don't know which option is correct. Hopefully, we don't know which option is correct. Now, when A is supposed to justify his answer choice, person 1 is supposed to justify his answer choice, he should give reasons why he has eliminated B, why he has eliminated C, why he has eliminated D. He will never give a reason justifying it. He will always give reasons rejecting the other options. And be very, very careful. This is the part that requires a lot of effort. The reason picked up to reject the other options should not be applicable to option A. Let's say if I'm saying option B is bad because it is not talking of one part of the passage that I feel is important, but option A is also not talking of that part, then the reason provided for rejecting option B is insufficient and you have to point it out to that person. Similarly, person 2 should give me reasons for rejecting B, rejecting C, rejecting D. Person 3 should give me reasons for rejecting A, rejecting C, rejecting D. Person 4 should give me reason for rejecting A, rejecting C, rejecting D. And person 5 should give me a reason for rejecting A, rejecting B, and rejecting D. And this discussion keeps on happening. This discussion keeps on happening until you unanimously agree upon a certain answer choice. This discussion, this direction keeps on happening until you unanimously agree upon an answer choice. Let's say finally everybody decides, okay, B is the final answer. Then you go and simply look at what is the correct answer, not the entire solution, what is the correct answer. If it aligns, great. Then you also read through the solution. Let's say you arrived at B and it turned out to be incorrect. Then you have to come back and see. Then you have to play devil's advocate and identify why, as in why would B be incorrect? Because this was a unanimously agreed upon answer. You have to play devil's advocate and identify what is wrong, what could potentially be the reason why B is getting eliminated, and then repeat the process. With this, what happens is you start to identify what sorts of presuppositions or preemptive beliefs we already have that tend to bring us into that tend to make us 1 minute. Okay. The presuppositions and preconceived notions that we have that tend to push us towards a particular option. If that gets rectified, more often than not, see, the challenge with RC is one, understanding the passage. Second, being able to eliminate options. Understanding of the passage gets improved with people summarizing, and elimination of options gets improved with this process of everybody engaging in the exercise of providing reasons for why I eliminated this, why I eliminated that. Okay. Now, with this process of, let's say, if everybody, let's say there were four people, and 3 said A, and 1 said B, and unanimously everyone finally agreed upon it, but then it turns out this is incorrect. This is the time the inner demons and inner weirdness of people will come out. If by some chance B turns out to be the answer, this I said it was B only, you people convinced me, blah blah blah. Listen to that person, absolutely listen to that person. Don't invite him to the next meeting. That is where your group evolves over time. If somebody is more interested in proving that they are right rather than identifying what was the argument or how the answer was arrived at, that person is not really serious for cat. That person is serious for I want to be the smartest in the room, not necessarily the best trained. So that is where your evolution of group would keep on happening. And this is the entire process. The same thing would happen for summary, odd one out, PJs, even the FIB paragraphs. Now, if you do this, all these steps, it is going to be a long process. The inherent challenges with this is going to be a long process because every passage, if you do it properly, it is going to take you roughly 40 to 45 minutes. And then you're also going to have to spend time on the individual VA questions. It is going to be lots of time. It is going to be lots of time. And historically, it has also been a problem finding serious participants for a discussion. More often than not, when groups get formed, what happens is one person becomes very dominant in the discussions. That person keeps on arguing, shouting, blah, blah, blah. And other people are timid or more reserved and they don't participate as much. See, you would have to find a group that works best for you. Or if you are unable to find a group, then the next best process that you can potentially do is use AI But let this not be your first go-to mechanism. I will not even make the effort of finding somebody. Let me directly jump to AI. Remember, AI is the stupidest tool when it comes to solving IQ-based questions, especially when it comes to CAT-based questions. I've seen a lot of people use AI for arriving at answers for para summary or para jumbles, and it is the worst thing you can do, because go to AI and tell them answer is B. They will give you a reason why answer is B. Give them an option C. They will give you an option. They'll give you a reason for why option C is correct. AI makes lots of errors. In fact, one of the earliest tests, one of the earliest mocks in the season, I was looking at how correct AI is. Chat GPT, the free version, I was using that, and I put in all 8 VA questions. I put in all 8 VA questions. AI had an accuracy of 1 out of 8. So AI is not to be trusted. When I'm saying use AI, I'm saying get a summary of the passage from AI. You can use the summary from AI, and that's it. The reasoning part of it, where you're rejecting options or you're trying to identify this reason, that you would have to do on your own. But you can always utilize it to generate summaries. Beyond that, identifying the right answer, rejecting an option, why it should, or identifying flaws with an option, none of that AI can do, or none of that Chat GPT can do. Chat GPT is absolutely useless on that front. But for summary generation, and this fallback mechanism only exists when you're unable to find serious participants. Even if it is a long process, see, you can either do it right or you can do it quick. Doing it right will require you to go through long periods of discussion, long process. If you can find the time and the people for it, there is no gain like it. That is the best way to improve. But if you can't, then you can perhaps use AI for summary generation, and that will be all. Okay, that is all from my end from VA for VA analysis. See, of course, so if you come across new words, put that down somewhere, make your vocabulary list. I hope we are familiar with this website. This website, you can create a free account, log in as a student, create a free account, and there you can make a list of words that you come across that are fun, as in words that you were previously unaware of, or words on for which new meanings you have learned. You can keep on making that list, and this vocabulary.com will present these list of words in front of you in a gamified quiz fashion, wherein you can play whenever you're on your phone and you're scrolling and क्या बोलते हो उसको? Scrolling ही बोलते हैं. Scrolling and going through stories and Instagram reels and YouTube shorts. Instead of that, you can go to vocabulary.com. You will have these quizzes available. You can go ahead and play these quizzes. They are a much better utilization of your time and also enable you to expand the range of your vocabulary. This is going to be extremely important when it comes to the other omits that are coming up, NMAT and SNAP and everything. Their precise word meanings are going to be very, very important. So use vocabulary.com for listing out the words. Then there is also an additional process of, let's say, if you read through a passage and you're unfamiliar with the terms involved altogether, all the terms that are present there are unfamiliar to you. You can always list out the topic and then do more research about it. What is it talking of? Where are these things coming from? What are these terms that are being used? I'm sure everyone has epistemological. I don't know if this is the correct spelling. Episteme, I know. But epistemological or related to knowledge, or you would have come across terms like existentialism, 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 utilitarianism, new terms, new ideas that you were previously unfamiliar with. If you come across them in passage, you can of course do more research. I will talk of that more when I come across the template. That will give you a fairer idea of where things should be put in. Okay, talking of the DILR analysis. See, for verbal ability analysis, honestly, doing it right after the test is going to be a challenge, because you would need to have 4 or 5 people attempting the test at the precise same time, and then right after it sitting down for analysis. That doesn't really happen. But for DILR and quant, it can happen right after the test. And how to do it? First step, right after the test is done, you go ahead, you make a table like this. There is set 1, there is set 2, and then test time rating. We thought this set was easy. We thought this set was moderate. Set 3 could be difficult. Set 4 could be easy, whatever it is. Remember, what is easy and difficult is going to be your own rating, not what the question setter is telling us. Because what is easy for me may not be easy for you. What is easy for you may not be easy for me. So the distinction in ease and unease is going to be significantly far apart. Please do not use predetermined easy and difficult rating of the questions. Identify your own test time rating. What had you rated it as? Was it easy? Was it difficult? Whatever it was. Then whether you attempted it, whether it was familiar, it was set theory. I knew only 3 circles had to be made and everything after that I had to do. Then of the 4 questions or 5 questions now, how many I got correct, how many I got wrong. Second set, there were too many parameters. I had to do a 4 parameter distribution set in which I had to make a 2 by 2 parameter table 3 times over in order to get to the final result. I did not attempt it at all, so chalega. Do this right after the test. Okay. Step 2. The first step is simply list out what you felt was easy, what was difficult, what was moderate. Next, re-attempt all incorrect and missed questions. Even if just one question in a set was missed or wrong, re-attempt it. Invest at least 40 minutes before peeking at the solution. Spend a lot of time with sets. The only way you improve at DILR is by forcing yourself to think in ways that you had previously not. And that happens when you invest a lot of time in it. When I say invest 40 minutes, I don't mean 9 o'clock I start looking at this set. Then at 9:03, I go to get water. Then I pick up my phone, I talk to 5 people, and then I come back and then I say, oh, it is 9:38. So 2 more minutes I have to wait. Then I watch a few reels. Because I watched a few reels thinking 2 minutes will pass. It is already 10 now. And then I say, okay, 40 minutes have passed, so now I can peek at the solution. No. 40 minutes of dedicated solving has to be involved before you peek at the solution. And I'm not even saying as in looking at the entire solution. I'm saying peeking at the solution. Because one of the challenges with DILR and QA is the first step and the recording style. How should the data have been recorded? Very often, if you're familiar with the recording style, the set would appear to be easy. If you're unfamiliar with the recording style, the set would appear to be difficult. Let's say if you've done enough questions in games and tournament, or if you've done enough questions in network diagrams, the style of recording that you have for these questions makes it far more easy to handle than somebody who is absolutely unfamiliar with what these questions entail. So just peek at the solution. What is the first step, how they are starting it, or what is the recording style, how they are doing it. Once you take that peek, then come back, invest 20 more minutes. Invest 20 more minutes. Because only those solutions that you come up with yourself, only those solutions that you manage to generate yourselves are the ones that are going to be useful for you. If you very often, sadly, I ask people how many sets have you practiced. They tell me, let's say, sir, I have practiced 300 sets. I have gone through 300 sets. I'm like, wonderful, 300 sets is excellent. So of these 300 sets, how many sets were you able to solve completely or correctly, entirely? They're like, sir, I've done about 60 sets myself. And I've looked at another 240 sets solution. And then you realize, oh, you have done 60 sets. You have not done 240 sets, you have done 60 sets. Because very often, because we are also low attention span generation, we want to know the answer quickly. We want to get to the right solution very quickly. which takes away from your ability to improve in DILR, because unless you struggle with the question, you try out different recording styles yourself, there is barely ever going to be a time where you will be able to initiate a solution instead of simply being able to appreciate a solution. Very often it would happen, oh, aisa karna tha, very nice, good recording, bahut badhiya kiya. But similar question comes up in future, you would not be able to solve because you never went through the pain of trying to identify what the right path is. Even when you're learning how to cycle, you have to fall down, you have to experience excruciating pain. As in, it's a rite of passage. Unless you have fallen down from a cycle, you have not learned how to ride a cycle. So even in DILR, unless you spent time with sets and faced pain there, it is highly unlikely you are ever going to learn how to initiate solutions. And thereby, we are more interested with outcomes instead of improvements. And we become sad. We feel DILR is unmasterable. Partly true, but partly also down to the fact that our process of trying to improve in DILR is a little flawed. Please do this. Even if one question in the set is wrong, do the entire set all over again. It would help you identify small careless errors also. It will also help you identify what better recording styles exist. After you've invested 60 minutes on this set, then you can go ahead and look at the solution, whether it is video, whether it is text, whatever it is. If you come across new recording styles that you are previously unaware of, keep a record of it. We've talked of repositories earlier. New recording styles, new language instructions, all of that. After the solution is seen, try to reduce steps compared to official solution. Could I have done something that would have made my task easier? Could I have reduced the steps? They have done it in 3 steps. Could I have done it in 1 step? Try to. You will not always succeed, but sometimes you will. And when you do, then you'll realize, oh, this is an area of strength of mine. This is something that I can do better than most people. And therefore, that is an advantage that you've identified for yourself. If there is an insight that you derived, record it in a separate place, very much like a repository. Don't fret over one set excessively. CAT papers historically have 1 to 1.5 easy sets, which may not be the case with most mock tests available in the market. Most mock tests, you will see there is wild variation. Either you will have a test in which everybody is scoring 40 plus, as in lots of people are scoring 40 plus, and then there are going to be tests in which 99 percentile is at 12 marks, 13 marks. So it is not that mock tests or mock test providers are bad. It is just that, see, CAT has to make only one test in a year. Mock test providers have to make several tests in a year. So they try to include all levels of difficulty. Sometimes insanely hard, sometimes insanely easy. So if there is one set that is just getting beyond you, don't fret too much over it. You are not going to have absolute mastery over it. But then don't utilize this point as a crutch कि भाई जब भी किसी सेट में दिक्कत आई तो हम छोड़ के भागे जाएंगे. Let this be like a limit of 10% of the sets that you have gone through in mocks. 10% of them. 1 out of every 10 sets you can avoid. ठीक है, हम नहीं कर रहे, ये तो औकात के बाहर है, समझ में नहीं आ रहा, इसको करने में मेरी जान निकल जाएगी. 1 out of 10 sets, but for the remaining 9 there has to be struggle. Of course, practice from varied sources. Past year mocks are an excellent source. Past year mocks are excellent because they make good questions. And embrace the uncertainty. The only way you get better at DILR is, and this is, if you're from a commerce background, say commerce people, non-engineering background, in fact, this will perhaps be your first time taking a competitive exam, a relative competitive exam. In a relative competitive exam, you are not expected to get full marks in order to be a good candidate. You simply have to do your best. Engineers, because they've gone through the JE and whatever other exams they appeared for, they have a better understanding or better nuanced grasp of this idea that you don't need to solve everything. So they are able to manage their emotions better. For commerce people, or at least the group that I came from, I always faced this. Lots of people were like, यार ये क्वेश्चन नहीं हुआ मेरे से. Even the toppers, somebody who's got like 47, 48 in the section would end up being extremely sad कि यार ये वाला सेट मेरे से नहीं हुआ, बहुत दुख हो गया मेरे को. You're not expected to solve everything. You're expected to solve maximum amount of questions while making minimum number of errors as per your ability. You're not expected to solve everything. Embrace the uncertainty. Understand there are going to be things beyond your comprehension level. Understand that there are going to be things beyond your ability to solve in that 40-minute slot. And that is fine. You not being able to solve everything is absolutely fine. And that is all for DILR section. Let's talk of QA. Very much like DILR, right after the test, do a test. Look at the test time rating, whatever you had given to it. Did you attempt it? Yes, no. And then think, what topic do you think this question was from? What topic you think this question was from? Arithmetic, if you want to be a little more granular, it was from SICI, it was from algebra APGP, it was from numbers, it was from PNC, it was from geometry quadrilaterals. You don't have to get down to geometry, triangles, medians, Apollonius theorem. Itna charni, geometry triangles, that is good enough. Utna hi kaam kar do, chalega. Then, did you attempt it? Not attempt it? If you attempted it, did you get it right? Did you get it wrong? Did you get it wrong? Did you get it right? सब कुछ अपना कर देना. Prepare a table like above. Right after the exam, this should be your first task. Prepare a table like this. Again, everyone will have a separate list of what's difficult and what's easy. Ideally, you should be doing this right after the test. Do not wait until later, because later on, you will perhaps not even remember what your test time rating of these things were. Okay. Next, reattempt all incorrect and missed questions. Invest at least 20 minutes before peeking at the solution. Let's say in a quant question, if you felt like there were too many cases, start listing out all the cases. You have 20 minutes of time. You have absolutely 20 minutes of time. List out every possible case. Then perhaps you'll be able to identify, oh, not all cases are important. Then you peek at the solution, simply look at the first step, or simply look at what the initial idea was. Don't look at it in entirety. Then invest 10 more minutes to solve individually. Yourself, try to solve it for a little more time yourself. Once you have spent time on solving it yourself, then you'll realize, okay, this works, this doesn't work, this is the wrong idea that I had. Very often you'll identify you've done a mistake of very careless error, wherein CP, SP was 12.5% more than CP. So you end up taking SP as 8 and CP as 7. And then this is wrong. It should have been 8 and 9 here. 12.5% more. CP should have been the larger number. Okay. Or in reading, gain of 20% on the SP. The question said gain of 20% of the SP. And we start off by going, okay, CP is 5, profit is 1, so SP will be 6. And this is flawed. This is absolutely wrong. Okay. Step 2, we spend time. See, this exercise is geared towards making sure you learn the topic and the questions and the ideas better than, more than how many marks did I get or what percentile did I score. Absolutely immaterial. Next. After you've gone through whatever questions you solved in the exam and you've gone through all the attempted and missed questions, there are going to be 3 groups of questions. First is correct. We perform something called an efficiency check. We go through the solutions of these questions also and see if the solution that we had was efficient or the solution that the official test had was efficient. If my solution is efficient, applaud yourself, give yourself a pat on the back and move on. If you find these my solution and the test solution were identical, okay, nothing doing. If you find the official test solution is more efficient than the solution that you had, perhaps this question also holds learning. This should go into your repository. Now, the questions that you got incorrect or unattempted. And when I say incorrect and unattempted, it is after this exercise. Of course, you don't have to invest 20 minutes in every question. Let's say if you manage to solve a question ahead of time, you can happily move on. The questions that remain unattempted, you are unable to arrive at an answer or a question that were absolutely incorrect. You can make 2 kinds of errors. You can either make a concept error or you can make a careless error. A careless error would be where you do 3 plus 3 is 9 or 3 into 3 is 6. And those sorts of errors happen very often. When a careless error happens, slap yourself 3 times across your face and move on. There is no way you can improve careless errors apart from paying more attention. And there is no subsequent course of action apart from simply, I should not make an error. If there is a concept error, if there is a concept error, we have four possibilities coming from there. Four possibilities being, first is topic is yet to be done. Some of us are not entirely done with our syllabus. So those of us who are not entirely done with our syllabus, this topic is yet to be done. Okay. This topic is done. Okay. Which is a knowledge issue. If the topic is yet to be done and topic is done, these two are different variants. What happens after that? We'll talk on or talk of that in the next page. Or application issue. See, application issue is the trigger is missing. What I mean by trigger is the first step that you need to engage in order to arrive at the answer. We are unable to figure out what the first step would have been. If we are able to figure out what the first step would have been, life would be simple. Just because the first step was missing. And this would be those questions in which once you peek at the solution, then you are able to solve it in entirety. These are the questions which are trigger is missing. And then there are questions, practice is missing. It means, see, solutions in which see application and knowledge. I'll also differentiate between knowledge issue and application issue. Solutions that you are able to understand after one read itself. Solutions that you are able to understand after questions that you are able to understand after reading the solution once or twice. In those questions, we have an application issue. Questions for which the solution is absolutely missing, as in the understanding of the solution is absolutely missing. Even when I've gone through the solution twice, thrice, 4 times over, then it is a knowledge issue. Application issue is I can understand the solution, but I can't generate it in the exam. And knowledge issue is I can't even understand the solution. This is beyond the scope of my understanding right now. Then practice is missing because I haven't solved enough number of questions on this topic, and therefore I'm unable to arrive at the final answer. Trigger is missing, just the first step is missing, practice is missing. I haven't practiced enough. Then, after we've identified this A, B, C, D, we do a step 4. And then you realize test time rating we had already generated earlier. Test time rating, what was easy, what was medium, what was difficult, so on and so forth. And then we realize, okay, after the test, or after your test is over and you've done all that extra solving, then you'll again create this table now and then see some things have changed. Previously, I was thinking this was an easy question, but it is actually a difficult question. And even the topic has changed. Previously, I was thinking this question is from numbers, but the question is not from numbers, the question is from geometry. Then this correct, I was unable to solve it in the exam, but later on I was able to solve it. Then I had previously given it a rating of easy, but actually it was a moderate question. Or previously I had given it a rating of moderate, but it was actually an easy question. I only had to look at the unit digit. I only had to look at what is a multiple of something. And this is a correct, as in it was a numbers based question. So pre-test rating and post-test rating, this enables you to identify, okay, what are the errors that I've made? This is readily available in one spot. Over a period of time and multiple tests, patterns will start to emerge of what you do correctly and what you usually get wrong in solving and selecting. Okay, last step. See, if it is a knowledge issue, topic is yet to be done, then chill. There is nothing that you can do right now. Once the topic will be done, only then will you have some degree of comfort and control over it. If the topic is done and yet you are unable to understand, first step you do is revise, revisit all the notes, class, insights covered, whatever you had studied earlier, you go through them all over again. If the trigger is missing, record in a repository where all insights, learnings will be present. If the practice is missing, practice. For B also, first step is revisiting all your notes and class and insights, then go back to practice. For trigger missing, it will of course be again, after you've recorded in a repository, you go back and practice. Practice is the end goal of everything, except when the topic is not done. Because if the topic is not done, if you go to practice right now, you will not be able to solve it anyway. But once you are done with your initial knowledge issue is addressed or application issue is addressed, the next step has to be doing practice. And when I say practice, see, identifying very, very specific niche topics for practice is going to be difficult. Let's say you got an AGP question wrong in an exam. And now trying to identify, let me find 20 AGP based questions. It is going to be difficult. You'll find 4 or 5 AGP based questions. That is okay. When I say practice, get to that general area. AGP is out of series and it is out of common, it is out of the usual AP and GP and HP series. So look for unconventional series. Even when you find stuff like terms that will get cancelled in between, which is popularly known as user-defined series or partial fractions or whatever, do all sorts of unconventional series-based questions. That is perfectly all right. Even if those are questions that you have solved earlier, please go and please solve them all over again. That will give you a greater degree of comfort and confidence of how these need to be tackled in future. And that will be all for QA analysis. And now we will look at a mock analysis template. See, this is for people who have, as in people who want to do it right. My entire argument or presentation is geared towards people who want to do it right from end to end, entire thing correctly. And when are people who are maintaining a repository and have time for it. Then there are going to be people who are not like that. For them, I have something here else. Can you see this can you see this file, people? Can you see this file? Mock analysis template. Okay. So there is this mock analysis template here. Let's say the first test you took was a sectional one I put down. Let's say you took SynCat 1 or AIMCAT or 2521, something of that sort. Marks RC1, what marks you got here, how much time you invested. And this should be a summation of question 1, question 2, question 3, question 4, how much time you invested. Then include the genre here. What I mean by genre is whether it is from philosophy, whether it is from history, whether it is from this, whether it is from that, whatever it is, put it down. Then RC2, then RC3, then summary, parajumble, odd one out, and FIB. Okay, I can't write it right now. I will edit it to include FIB also. Whatever marks you got, how much time you invested. Always include the time that you invested. Total questions 24. Minutes 40, this, everything you have to put down. Everything that is black, you have to put down. Then you put down your percentile that you got, also marks that you got. Accuracy will be automatically calculated. You don't have to do it. Everything that is black, you need to put in. Now here, you're including the genre. Here, percentile you have to put in. Reviews. Can I expand it by some metric? See, okay. DILR, QA, no, VARC. This. After every test, you need to ensure that you understand each passage in the test, attempted and unattempted. Upon review, choose one of the following. See, there are 3 options: done, to research, and not clear. One of these options you select. Done, to research, and not clear. Done, if you're able to understand the passage and understand the variations in the questions presented, you should now be able to justify each answer and eliminate others with confidence. To research would be those passages. If you have managed to solve the passage, but you're not sure if you understood all of the storylines mentioned in the passage, let's say if there are topics or headings that you are unfamiliar with or areas that you previously were unaware of, then it goes in the to research. Not clear, if the passage went over your head and you didn't understand it at all, then reach out to your mentor, study group, seek help. Also make sure whenever you seek help, you always share all that you understood. Never ever let it be, मेरे को कुछ नहीं समझ में आया, मेरे को बताओ इसके अंदर क्या हुआ. Because then the other person will give you an understanding of what they felt, and then you will have follow-up questions also. So start off by mentioning where your headspace is, what you understand of it. Once you mention what you understand of it, then the subsequent part of it will be easier for the other party to explain, instead of going, why should this happen? Why should that happen? Okay. And then parajumbles, 1, 2, odd one out, Jubi, summary, to research. If even in summaries, you can come across beautiful words that you have previously no idea of. Parajumbles, you may not necessarily understand what is happening. Now, after that, let's say for your A sectional one, I put down some insights or learnings. You will of course edit it as per your preference. Spent too much time on parajumbles, didn't get enough time for RCs. One sort of error that you made, assumed incorrect meaning of some words instead of ignoring them. Speed, need to read more articles from Telegram channel, whichever Telegram channel you are a part of, or wherever you get your daily source of articles. It was a difficult passage, need to read more from this genre. Silly mistakes, did not validate the option with the passage. Vocabulary was missing. RC choice, I scored more in an unattempted RC when I tracked later. What I mean by this is, let's say in a passage, you decided in a test, you decide RC3, I will not attempt. But later on, after the test, when you solved that passage, you found out you got 3 correct there and 1 wrong there, versus a passage that you did attempt and you got 1 correct there and 3 wrong there. I scored more on an unattempted RC when I tried later on. RC error types. These are insights and learnings. You keep on, after every test, you keep on writing them down. So this is for A sectional 1, you've written it down. Then you copy it and you put it down A sectional 2 or whatever other test you're taking. You write it down. Over a period of time, you'll see, oh, patterns are emerging. This is my safe spot and this is my unsafe spot. And different error types that can happen in RCs or different insights, reviews that you can have for RC. Vocabulary, my word meaning was off. It was a passage that was insanely difficult. I need to read more about it. It was a difficult question. The options were very close. It was a factual error. The passage said, Ram went to the market and he was followed by Shyam, who came just after Ravi. Something like this. And we said, Ram के बाद तो श्याम आया. नहीं, राम के बाद रवि आया है, जिसके बाद श्याम आया है, या श्याम से पहले 2 लोग तो आए ही. So it was a factual error in reading, in orienting myself. Silly mistake, did not validate with the passage, missed the meaning of the question altogether. Extrapolation error, assumed more than what was mentioned in the passage. Passage के अंदर राम going to the market ही लिखा था, लेकिन हमने ये कर दिया कि राम तो market गया तो marketing तो करेगा ही, कुछ ना कुछ तो खरीद ही लेगा. Although that is not the precise meaning of marketing, but ऐसा कुछ. Elimination error, torn between 2 options and eliminated the correct option because of logical error, or missed the word except in the question. Ye wala error, I'm sure lots of people have already experienced. Missing the word except or missing the word not, or given the convoluted nature of the language, which of the following would the author not agree with except? तो फिर ये नहीं पता चलता कि भाई मेरे से something that author agrees with या author doesn't agree with मांग क्या रहा है. Which of the following, if true, would not agree with the author except? तो फिर इसमें क्या रहेगा क्या नहीं रहेगा. Those sorts of errors usually happen. So whatever insights, learnings you want to write down, you can write that down here. Then you have DILR, number of sets, how many sets were attempted, how much time you had. 4 and 40 is pretty much going to be identical. Sets attempted 3, time invested 34 minutes. Questions attempted. If theta guesses are included, make sure you record that here. The comment here, if theta guesses are included. If you end up randomly putting down 2 and 3 here, which I heavily encourage, don't invest a lot of time in getting to those numbers, but put that down most definitely. If you get it correct, there is an upside. If you don't get it correct, there is no nuksan. Then how many we got correct, how many we got wrong, how many were unattempted, how much time did we spend on these questions, what marks did we get, what percentile did we have. Accuracy gets automatically calculated. Set 1, done. 2, revisit, means I should come back. What this enables us to do is, instead of creating a repository, you can potentially have, let's say, IMS mock 1, IMS mock 2, whichever it is. So if it is done, I'm absolutely certain of what this is. I'm in control. I know inside and out of it. Then you don't need to revisit this. Then perhaps a set that gave you a lot of learning that you want to practice later on or want to come back to it, you can revisit. If it is not clear, of course, this means you have to go and seek help for it. But if it is not clear, You need to address it. Revisit is, I could not solve it earlier, but now I understand it. Not clear is I can't understand it right away. After every test, you need to ensure that you're able to solve all the sets in the DILR test, attempted and unattempted. Upon review, choose one of the following. Done if you're able to solve the set. So revisit if you manage to solve it, but you're not confident of solving it in the future. Revisit after a week. Revisit and try to solve these sets after a week. If you're unable to solve the set, reach out to your mentor or study buddies or online help to find out how to solve these sets. For topic, try to maintain the same naming convention. If you're putting down set theory, put down set theory everywhere. Don't do set theory somewhere, do sets somewhere, do Venn diagram somewhere, blah, blah. A drastic learning obtained, especially in recording stage, put that down in the comment. Set theory में अगर 5 सेट का Venn diagram दिया है, let's say in set theory itself, 5 सेट का Venn diagram है, तो invariably you would have one set that is contained entirely within some other set. If you've gone through 5 set of Venn diagrams, to the best of my memory, I think I've gone through 9, 10 such sets in my lifetime so far. And in all those sets I've seen, if it's a 5 set Venn diagram, one set is included within another set. So I don't have to worry about what will be a 5 set Venn diagram right at the beginning. Then network diagram, then arrangement, then games and tournaments. You can have your own naming convention depending upon where you're getting your coaching from. They will have their own names. So accordingly, put that down. For the next test, you simply write down the name of that test, put down all these data points, move on. Then I've also put down some examples of what sort of errors people end up making. Need to form a table in most questions with charts, spent a lot of time on a set before moving on. A lot of people have this habit. I will pick up a set. I've invested 8 minutes in it. I'm no closer to an answer. But 8 minutes लगा दिए ना, थोड़ा टाइम और दे देते हैं, क्या पता खुल जाए. नहीं खुलेगा. If you don't have a path forward after 8 minutes, you will not have a path forward after 12 minutes also. Move on. Miss the information under the table and ended up making more cases than needed. Very often you have sets जिसके just ऊपर कोई लाइन रहती है, just नीचे कोई लाइन रहती है. लोग वो पढ़ते नहीं है, पूरा पूरा कहानी करना चालू कर देते हैं. और रेशियो कंपैरिजन हमने गलत कर दिया या कुछ मल्टीप्लिकेशन एरर कर दिया, बेसिकली कैलकुलेशन एरर कर दिया. Recording style was inefficient, where I should have done, uh, uh, let's say, a 5x5 matrix. वहां पर हम बैठ के 5x5 matrix बनाने की जगह हम पूरा पूरा every individual cell 25 के 25 values हमने अलग से लिखी थी, which is not ideal. Those sorts of errors. You can of course edit and improve and add your own unique error palette that you have. Then for QA, here you will have stuff like this. इसमें ये भी ध्यान देना, once you download it and open it in Excel, नो यहाँ पे इन सारी चीजों का it will be a drop down box. It will not just be correct application. वही हम सोच रहे थे, I'll show you the Excel also, so that once you download it, you'll see how it looks like. Here, include the topic it is from: algebra, arithmetic, numbers, modern maths, geometry, whatever it is. Then, in case you want to be a little more granular, you can also put down algebra, modulus, case counting, arithmetic, TSD. इतना detail में भी घुस सकते हैं. Then, if this was a guess, it was a theta guess or whatever guess, also put that down. Do not fall into false confidence mechanism where we think, oh, मेरे इतने आ गए हैं, जिसमें से 3 थीटा सही है, 3 थीटा guesses सही है, then उतने आ गए हैं, ठीक नहीं है, there is still work to be done. Input this, your total score will of course be identified. You can only get a score of 3 or 0 or -1 in the quantity section. Then you will have whatever questions, correct question पे कितना time दिया, wrong MCQ पे कितना time दिया, wrong theta पे कितना time दिया, unattempted पे कितना time दिया. You also have all these numbers available. Correct, incorrect, all of this will get generated automatically. You don't need to do anything. Again, need to revise TSD setups. TSD setups, there are good number of TSD setups that you should be familiar with in order to fast calculation. मतलब बहुत सारे लोग वो कुछ फन करते ना, वैदिक मैथमेटिक्स, आई विल डू 3 डिजिट नंबर विथ 2 डिजिट नंबर, हम मेंटली ही कर देंगे, हम ये कर देंगे, वो कर देंगे. मत करना. बेस सिस्टम नहीं पढ़ा है या पीएनसी हमने छोड़ दिया. ग्राफ्स बेस्ड क्वेश्चंस इन अलजेब्रा, आई मेक एरर्स इन एक्सेस शिफ्टिंग, I make mistakes in noting numbers. whatever sorts of errors you make. You can do all of this, and let me show you the Excel file because I'm extremely perturbed that there is no drop down box here. I don't give that degree of freedom. यहाँ देखना, यहाँ पे can you see the Excel file WIP people? Can you see the Excel file? Okay. Now here, not clear to research done. This will automatically come up. You wouldn't need to make for every question. It will be there. For DILR also done to revisit. The comments are also present. Everything will be available. Here also the sorts of issues that you can have. Either you got the question correct in reasonable time, it was correct, understanding, concept issue, application issue, careless error, last step I got it wrong because there was a lack of time. See, lack of time questions will be jumbled, will be grouped up together towards the end. It will be grouped up towards the end because I spent a lot of time in the earlier questions. And then what was your split will get automatically calculated here. How many questions you got correct? You thought you were correct and you actually got it correct. How many? There was an understanding issue, there was a concept issue, application issue, careless error, there was a last step error, there was a lack of time issue. All of that gets generated. And once you've taken, let's say, 7, 8, 9, 10 tests, you would see the numbers where your trend is. If your trend is moving upwards, correct and understanding gets more populated compared to application and careless, you're doing wonderfully well. Need to memorize the formula in mensuration lesson, making notes in double digit addition. Okay. Okay. So this Excel, I will most likely give, I will give the link for this Excel to the Inside IM people. And when this video goes live, you will have it under, you will have it in the description box there. Otherwise, you will also have it. If you go to my YouTube channel, there is a playlist by the name of how to do analysis. There, the last one is a mock template video. There, this link of this Excel is present. You can happily download it from there and move on. And that is all that I had to say. If you have any questions, now is the time to ask. How we do this is, please raise your hand. I will ask you to unmute and then we will engage in a conversation. If you have any questions, now is the time to ask. No? You have no questions? Okay. Okay. With that, we should end it then. Go home, sleep, have fun, have lots of, take lots of mock tests, do well, analyze well. Okay, bye.